the white shirt, and our youngest daughter, Hannah. And then I have Sophia, where's it, right here, next to the doorway, and Susanna in the doorway. Very, very grateful for them and their support. It all started with a Bible and a vote. And I was getting ready to move to the country, and I asked them, should I run this race? I'm actually referring to the House seat back in 2009 when I first started running. I'm so thankful for their passionate and patient, loving support, even going around with boots.
Crippled.
She doesn't walk through the house, she does cartwheels. And what I really need you to do is when we come up to the door to start to knock, I really need you to do that, or be doing that while I'm talking. And this one right back here, she could probably walk all the way from that door all the way out this one on her hands with her feet in the air. But I am so thankful for my family. I also want to recognize, you already heard from Don Rasmussen, my campaign manager, field director Brian Thornton as well, full-time. Appreciate him coming on board. And then I have volunteers and people that work for the state. Where's Alex? Right there. Alex Stolle right here, who also works for the campaign, has worked for me as an intern in the district office. Kathy C. is my chief of staff. She's right here. And, Michael Bullock, right here. And then his better half, Kathy. Christy, Kathy's daughter, right back here. I got 2 for 1 when I got really got.
You got a whole family.
Yeah, everybody. So very, very grateful. Then I want to make sure we recognize. Some people said these are pretty fine digs here. Well, they're not my digs. They've been donated, and I want to thank Kyle Smith. Been very generous. Thank you, sir. Kyle's been a supporter since I first ran. I think we had a little visit at Luby's, and really appreciate your constant.
Seriously, a friend long before them.
That's right. Amen. Well, where should we go from there? This is a big race. Most of y'all know my philosophy. It's just really to promote individual liberty and personal responsibility. And if you're not harming your neighbor, the government shouldn't be in the way. It's really that simple. You know, what's made us great as a nation, and what's made us great as a state, is a responsible use of freedom. It's not been big government. It's actually been individuals risking the rewards of their own hard work and investing it again and again. It's not the government investing it for them and making huge mistakes and reallocating it. So this campaign is about liberty and limited government. We need to uphold the rule of law. We need to, frankly, we need to enforce the immigration law. Part of that is not allowing sanctuary cities. I supported that in 2011, and then it got killed in the Senate. I believe it was passed in the Senate this time and didn't make it to the House. We need to uphold the rule of law, and the state and federal government should be working together. But where they don't, we need to fill the gap. You know, we have basically a revolving door on our southern border. Oftentimes, you've heard people are smuggled in, but if you're smuggled in with 5 people or less, if you don't have, if the smuggler doesn't have 6 people he's smuggling in, the Border Patrol does not prosecute. And we need to prosecute. And if someone has committed a criminal felony in this state, they need the maximum penalty. They don't need to be caught and released. They may need to be caught and kept. And we can do that. And we need to make sure we are doing the fundamental role of government, and that is to punish the wrongdoer. We do welcome people to come to the state of Texas, across the bridge, legally, not to be dependent upon the government, but fear God, uphold our laws. So I believe in a broad bridge, but I also believe in a high fence. And that if you come here defying the rule of law and you commit a violent felony, we're going to put you away for good. The other thing we need to do with respect to the border is we need to stop subsidizing other people's health care and education. We need to deal with that and stop the magnets. And so we need to remove the handouts really across the board and require responsibility, but especially we do not need to encourage people to come here for freebies. Anyway, I want to tell you one quick story. Some of y'all have heard this. You can pick up one of these on the way out. Most of the time, I have a flag flying here somewhere. It's right over there in the corner. But in 1835, when the rule of law was being demolished by a certain man named, there we go, Santa Anna. And he took the Constitution and basically threw it out. And Texans had to decide what they were going to do. And so when they came to get our cannon at Gonzales, we raised the Come and Take It flag. Well, they heard about that in Georgia because they loved liberty. And on November 12th, soon after Gonzales, they raised $3,000 to outfit 150 Georgia volunteers. And they began to march to Texas. Think about they left their loved ones. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
They left their farms. They left their children because they believed there was freedom, there was liberty and opportunity in the state of Texas. And they traveled about 600 miles. But their first stop was when they moved from Macon to Knoxville. And they came to Joanna Troutman's family inn. She had heard about him coming, and she took something precious. She took her white silk skirt. She was a 17-year-old girl. And she took that skirt, she turned it into a flag, and that's what this little emblem is a picture of in this flag right over here. On the front side, it said the goal of what they're going to fight for, Texas and liberty. But on the back, it gave the motivation for which they were going to leave their families and march that long way and come to Texas. And this says in Latin and English, it says, where liberty dwells, there is our country. And that's what they proved. They left Georgia and came to Texas because they believed in liberty. And that really reminds us of the original patriot dream that we sing about all the time. That sees beyond the years of alabaster cities that gleam undimmed by human tears. They had a vision of heaven. And what's our hope of heaven? It's ultimately where we will use our freedom responsibly and perfectly and forever. And they wanted to have as much of that here in the United States as possible. That's what motivated them. And as individuals to use their freedom wisely and responsibly, not only for themselves, but for their neighbor and for the glory of God. And I am so encouraged that that vision is being recovered. And part of that vision is holding accountable those who we elected to office. That's why we swear allegiance to the Constitution and not to people. And we're to the people ultimately hold elected officials accountable. Thank you so much for coming out. This is a big race. It's 16 counties. I'll repeat what Don said earlier. It goes from Tyler all the way up to Texarkana. And if you draw an X, you can then go over to Paris and come all the way down to Carthage. It's 16 counties, about 900,000 people. It's bigger than a congressional district. And so we need everyone's help. What's the best form of advertising?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. That's how this campaign is going to be won. It's one person at a time, asking from them for their vote, talking to them about the message of liberty and limited government, and the willingness to not only go to Austin, but not be sucked into the system, but to do what's right, and not worry about re-election, but want to be re-elected for doing the right thing. Well, we need money. We need foot soldiers to go door to door with me and others. We need people to call. We need people to put up signs, yard signs, road signs. And if you want to host a coffee, I'd be happy to come and sit down with your friends, your neighbors, your church members, and talk about our great state. Any questions?